thank you all very, very much for taking the time to stop down about this very, very important initiative and the position that is being taken by government, by our university community, by nonprofits, and we hope this entire corporate community will also follow suit in the deliberative fashion that we have. Again, thank you. We do have a number of honored guests here. I do want to recognize Mayor Bill Peduto, County Executive Rich Fitzgerald, and Amy Downs, who has worked with Ricardo Williams. Together they worked to organize this event in partnership with the Corporate Equity Inclusive Roundtable, CEIR. You know, when we have a problem, we roll up our sleeves and we fix it. This is the position of this joint city-county government. Our region has the intestinal fortitude and the intellectual capacity to change the socioeconomic climate and impact of our city. The White House Fair Chance Initiative provides us an executable playbook to engage our local corporations and nonprofits into developing the best practices to engage our formerly incarcerated citizens back into the workforce. It's in our best interest to reverse this trend of incarceration. Here are some statistics provided by the U.S. Department of Education. Beyond the box, increasing access to higher education for justice-related individuals. This is written in May of 2016. We all know today the United States prison population is the largest in the entire world. United States accounts for less than 5% of the world's population, but nearly 25% of its inmates. From 1973 to 2014, the average state and federal prison population in the United States rose steadily from about 200,000 to slightly over 1.5 million. Local jails hold 700,000 people, bringing the total number of inmates across the country, this is our local jails, bringing the total number of inmates across the entire country to 2.2 million. Annually, over 600,000 people leave the state and federal prisons to re-enter society. 600,000. And in 2014 alone, 11.4 million people were admitted to local jails. That means the revolving door going in and coming out, 11.5 million. And the average stay was 23 days. This afternoon, you will hear how we are utilizing our collective resources across the region to change the negative paradigm of employment opportunities for our formerly incarcerated citizens. And the mayor can comment on his adage that he used for a long time about what is the best cure to help people, to help the middle class, to help those that are on the lower end of our socioeconomic ladder to rise up. So next, I am going to have, Mayor, do you have another event?
County Executive.
You okay?
Yep.
Okay. Next, we're going to go in order. We're going to have County Executive Rich Fitzgerald up to talk about how the county has adopted ban the box and its hiring practices. Ban the box.
Thank you, Val. We banned that box. That's what we did. Anyway, thank you, Valerie. And I want to thank the mayor and all the partners who are here today. I also like to acknowledge from Governor Wolf's office, Aaron Mulchaney, his Western Pennsylvania director. These initiatives only work when we all work together. Obviously, the city and the county, what we're doing, my office and the mayor's office, along with the governor's office, our corporate citizens, our corporate community, et cetera, on down. So our job really is to provide all residents of the county a fair chance by providing opportunities for those with criminal histories to choose a different path. In our jail programs, for those who are in the Allegheny County Jail, we provide a broad offering of employment and training services. Inmates can work on resume and interview prep, job searches, participate in group workshops to improve both soft skills and learn how to seek employment as an ex-offender. Vocational training is offered through a variety of organizations, both prior to and after release. Inmates can learn skills for culinary careers, manufacturing, machining industry training, bricklaying, construction, as well as welding. We also provide many other opportunities for education and improvement of skills such as parenting, and ensure that inmates go through our reentry center so that the support services that they need to succeed succeed upon release are in place for them, thus reducing recidivism. And you're going to hear from Dr. Bullock, president of Community College, about the work that CCAC is also participating in those efforts. Ban the box, as Valerie said. In November of 2014, Allegheny County followed the city's lead in adopting ban the box policy, which became effective January of 2015, except in those cases where positions specifically require criminal history checks as part of the process. A person's criminal history is not required until later in the hiring process, which allows applicants to be judged on their education and experience that can lead them to balance that against their history. We have a woman here, I don't want to use her name, but she's gone through this process, and what she was able to do was to seek employment and ultimately be hired with the county because of this policy. She worked in the MBE WBE program as a temp until a full-time position came available. Because of the work that she did and how good she was at her work, she was given a full-time position. Because of her history, she was concerned about applying with, but the support that she received from Tracy McCants-Lewis, I don't know if I see Tracy here today. I don't think she made it here, but Dr. Lewis, who's at the Duquesne University School of Law, has been instrumental in helping folks such as this applicant go through there. She applied and was ultimately hired for the full-time position earlier this year. And then an expungement clinic. Our efforts are continuing in what we're going to be doing. The city and the county, myself and the mayor, in conjunction with Duquesne University School of Law and Professor Lewis, the Three Rivers Workforce Investment Board, the Pennsylvania Career Link, Pittsburgh Allegheny County, Neighborhood Legal Services, the Pro Bono Center of Allegheny County Bar Foundation, and the Urban League of Greater Pittsburgh. And you're going to hear from a lot of those folks here later on in the program. And the U.S. Attorney's Office of Western District of Pennsylvania will be hosting an expungement day on November the 14th, which will be held from 1 to 5 here in the lobby of the City County building. The expungement day will allow individuals to learn about the PA criminal expungement and new sealing process, helping those with criminal histories learn if they are eligible for either, and also providing an opportunity to meet with volunteer attorneys to discuss if they qualify for free services. Partners will also be providing information on career resources and share information on available employment opportunities throughout Allegheny County. This is an important project for a lot of different reasons. And we know in Allegheny County right now, as we continue to grow jobs and continue to need to replace jobs, we're short people. We need qualified people, and we need people across the board. And this is also, as Valerie read those statistics about our population in this country versus our population in the world, those numbers need to be are upside down. And they need, that's something we can't be very proud of as a country. 5% of the world's population, but that high percentage of the world's incarcerated individuals. We need to change that, and we need to use everybody's talents to move forward. So with that, we're glad to partner with everybody. I'm glad to partner with the mayor, and the mayor's going to speak next and talk about what they've been doing and the great partnership that we have here in the county with the city of Pittsburgh. Mayor?
Thanks. Thanks, Rich. The key word the county executive mentioned is partnership. It's all the different groups that are in this room that are working together in order to be able to do one thing: break a cycle. Break a cycle that has been addressed, that has been studied, and that has been realized, but really little has been done to be able to effectively change it. There are people who want to change their lives. There are people who've served their time, and then they're denied opportunity. And that is something that is part of a structure that limits the ability of that person to ever be able to have the life that they would want to choose. And instead of trying to find ways in order to change the structure, too many times we come up with excuses. This is a tangible way to do it. And I know that because we've been hiring. And we have hired individuals who I've gotten to know because they say, thank you. No one gave me a chance. And if we started to do this at a government level, in a nonprofit level, in a corporate level, you'd see a sea change occur within this city. You'd see cycles of violence end. You'd see opportunities for people to begin and then owning homes and taking back neighborhoods. And it's a simple step to be able to get there. When I said I know the people, a public works worker, his wife came to me and said, my husband can't find a job. He's a good man. He served time a while ago. He just needs a chance. So we hired him as a seasonal employee. That's every day working in our park system, doing pretty hard work, labor out in the parks. And the only thing he requested is, I want to be full-time. I want a full-time position. His supervisor, one of the best workers he has. That's how he defined this person. Now, all that person needed was an opportunity. Parking authority. My number 2 guy in tickets is on probation. We gave him an opportunity. He's out there every day. First time he got a paycheck. First time he got a paycheck. He's in his late 20s. And he has the opportunity now to be able to build this into a career. You know, it's a simple step to take. And you're looking for the best talent. Why don't you widen the pool? Why don't you look at everybody and say, hey, let's give everyone a shot at that job. We're not taking jobs away from other people. We're just giving people an opportunity. And that's what government's role is. We can't make decisions for people. People will make their own decisions. But we can provide opportunities and set an example for others to follow. Our goal is that this city becomes that type of a city, and that we have our corporate partners follow suit. And you know what they'll find? Their supervisors will be saying the same thing. The best guy or the best gal I have, because they were hired without the prejudice put before them, and they were hired simply upon merit. But it's going to require a partnership to get us there. And fortunately, we have somebody here from the corporate community that understands this very well, since she serves as the vice chair of the Three Rivers Workforce Investment Board, Laura Ellsworth.
Thank you. As the mayor said, I am the vice chair of the Three Rivers Workforce Investment Board, and that is, for those of you who don't know, the organization that helps distribute federal and state workforce development funds. And I'm going to give my comments today on sort of 1, 2, 3, really quickly, staying within time. Number one truth, and that is having a job is important to support yourself and your family. And it is no less true for people who have been incarcerated. The only difference may be this, that having a job is also the most significant factor in reducing recidivism. So that's number one. Number 2, let me give you 2 statistics to add to the ones you heard before. Locally, the unemployment rate for formerly incarcerated people is 53%. And for those who come to us seeking CareerLink job placement through CareerLink, 30% of them have some criminal background. What that tells you is that we have a lot of people with a big problem. Now for 3, let me tell you 3 things really quickly about the WIB and why you should care. Number 1, the WIB does direct job training for formerly incarcerated people. And that includes not just job training in certain careers, mostly culinary and construction, but also wraparound services, other things that people need when they're coming back into society from jail. So, for prospective employers out there, you may find that there are really well-qualified, well-trained people who are available to you for employment. Number 2, we also support corporate awareness and education. So back in April, we had a convening where we had more than 200 employers from the region come together and talk about the prospect of employing people who had been previously incarcerated, and dispelling a lot of the myths associated with that. And at the end of that, 91% of the employers said that they were more likely or very likely to hire somebody who had had a criminal record. So what does that tell you as a prospective employer? What that tells you is that your competition sees something of value in these prospective employees. Number 3, the WIB has just received recently a $1.4 million grant from the Department of Labor to help formerly incarcerated people transition to employment. Again, skills training, job training, office training. And to supplement what the county executive talked about, there are a lot of programs that focus on the jails and training in the jails. These focus on people who are in work release. And so how to get those people in to the job market. Again, if you're a prospective employer, these are going to be people that the federal government money helped train to put into your workplace. And the last thing I want to say about this has nothing to do with numbers. It has to do with humanity. And it is simply this. There is nothing associated with this initiative that says that an employer can never ask if someone had a criminal background. That's not what it says. What it says is you should wait until after you know the person to make that inquiry. And then it's up to you as an employer to determine how that impacts your decision. But you should make the decision based on the person, not the paper. And we have so many people in our society, so many people who have gone to jail, have gone to prison, and you've heard the term, they've paid their debt to society. They shouldn't have to pay forever. They should be able to get paid for an honest day's work, just like all the rest of us. And so that's what this initiative is about, to find a fairer place to give our fellow citizens the chance to have a job and support their families, just like the rest of us. So thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm president of the Community College of Allegheny County, and it is always important for me to ensure that the community college is aligning its programs and services with the needs of our citizens. As we begin to prepare our workforce training initiatives, it is important that we understand what those training demands are. We are committed to working with reentry individuals. When we talk about the education and the skills essential for today's changing economy, members of this community are part of that community. The competitive global environment rewards workers who possess some sound general knowledge and enables them to adapt to the changes in the workplace, continuing to learn new job skills. So as a reentry individual, CCAC is committed to assist them in building and getting those skills to align with some of the high demand areas. This could include, but not limited to, the business and industry, professional development, professional continuing education, public safety areas, workforce training. In order for them to accelerate in the region's economic development, the college will work very closely with our regional players to forecast what some of the hard skills are to help them to achieve those skills. There's over 30 different programs of training, starting with accounting, building construction, civil engineering technology, the culinary arts, digital design, electronic engineering technology, film workers, food services, graphic designs, machine technician, manufacturing technology, nanofabrication technology, plumbing, social work, a social foundation, stationary operating engineering, tourism, marketing, welding, and the list goes on. So you can see our impact is significant. We are integrated in this community. We're working in partnership with our partners through the consortium. This past fall, we hosted an informational session to really gather information to allow individuals to understand what those needs are and how businesses can be an integral and important factor in hiring individuals who come with the skills. So to ensure that they have these skills, the community college works with the individuals to get the credential that is essential to get into the workplace. One good example is this year, with the demand in the growing area that we do strongly advocate because of the industry that's nearby, is the cracker plant. We have launched this year a midnight welding because the demand has been overwhelming. When we look through those numbers, they are representatives of this audience. So to me, that's significant, that's important. That's one demonstration to show how the community college is responsive and available to assist however it takes to ensure that they have access to high-quality workforce training and education to begin to earn a sustainable wage and to support a family.
Good afternoon. Any conversation about the successful reentry of returning citizens released back into the community from incarceration cannot take place without a focus on employment. Employment, or should I say lack of sustainable employment, is the primary reason people who are released from incarceration return back to jail or prison. As this fact is becoming more widely recognized, we must continue to reinforce to employers the importance of considering this population for hiring. Excuse me. Is this fact, okay, I'm sorry. Okay, so we must focus on the concept of second chance employment, which is the reasonable consideration of employment opportunities for individuals with a criminal background. As 1 in 3 Americans have some sort of criminal record, employers no longer have the luxury of focusing their hiring efforts solely on individuals with no criminal record. We must encourage employers in every sector of the workforce on the importance of examining their hiring policies as it relates to hiring individuals with a criminal record, and to educate them on the incentives that are intended to lessen the perceived risk of hiring these individuals, such as the Work Opportunity Tax Credit and federal bonding. And we must continue to demonstrate how hiring returning citizens benefits the whole community. In addition to the tax benefits, second chance employment creates a wider pool of individuals from which employers can acquire viable, qualified, potential employees who would have traditionally been overlooked. Second chance employment allows returning citizens to become taxpayers, contributing to the overall economy of the area in which they live and/or work, as opposed to our tax dollars being spent to support them during their incarceration and/or their dependency on public assistance. Finally, and most importantly, second chance employment provides a means of empowerment and accomplishment, allowing these individuals to become self-sufficient and provide for themselves and their families. It is not my plea for employers to make unreasonable considerations as it relates to the hiring of returning citizens. Case in point, if an individual has a bank robbery conviction, by no means would I expect or even condone that individual being considered for a position at a bank. However, if there were a position made available that would certainly pose no threat to the employer or the public, I would expect that individual to be considered for such a position. In closing, reentry is everybody's business, and it impacts the entire community. I strongly urge you to become involved in the mission to increase employment opportunities for returning citizens. If you are an employer, please take the Fair Chance Business Pledge to demonstrate your commitment to eliminate barriers to employment for returning citizens. If you are a concerned citizen, please examine your personal and professional networks and seek out those who either have the capacity to make hiring decisions or have influence with those who do, and have a dialogue with them to encourage their support of second chance employment. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Oh, boy. I stand here and I'm feeling very good about what all of us are saying, and I am prayerful that all of us live out whatever it is we've said at the mic today. My name is Esther Bush, and I'm President and CEO of the Urban League of Greater Pittsburgh. The ramifications of incarceration most heavily impacts African Americans in the United States and indeed in Pennsylvania. And I asked all of us to consider that. I asked all of us to consider the why. Why, over the last 40 years, the United States has put more than 2 million people behind bars at any given time. And as Valerie said, we now have the highest number of individuals in jail than anybody else in the world. And when you take a closer look at it, we notice the stark racial and ethnic disparities that exist here in the United States and around all of the regions in our country. People, we must face this. We must not brush over it, look over it. It is very real, and you and I can make the change. I am so proud that the mayor and the county executive are here. But let's have fewer of these conferences and more action, because we can make a difference. When we look nationally, according to the U.S. Census, blacks are incarcerated 5 times more than whites are, and Hispanics are nearly twice as likely to be incarcerated as whites. When we look at the Pennsylvania Department of Corrections reports from 91 to 2013, that's 23 years, blacks represented 48 to 57% of the system's overall population. 48 to 57%. And we're only 12% of the population in the state. We know something's wrong with those numbers. Let us look at ourselves. Each one of us, in whatever sphere we impact, and make sure that individuals can find a way to become self-supporting. The Urban League of Greater Pittsburgh, for 98 years, has assisted African Americans to achieve economic self-reliance. But we need your help in doing that. People previously incarcerated need your help in doing that. You have to ask yourself the question, how are people who cannot find a job going to be self-supporting? It's impossible. You can't do it. They can't do it. How are they going to share with their family the fact that I can support you, I can take care of you? It doesn't matter what has happened historically. But I do need all of us to look at what got us to this place today, just as a backdrop on our society, but then to underscore how we can move people today and tomorrow. I ask you to hire people that's been previously employed with making informed decisions, no one asking anybody to do anything stupid, but black people, Latino people, anybody that has been incarcerated honestly needs an opportunity. I will say in closing, just like was stated earlier, there are programs that come out all the time. The Urban League is very proud to have sponsored many of these programs, but they're typically only funded 1 or 2 years. Then you have to start all over again. If your life was like that, would it not take you longer? The Urban League right now is running several programs that are assisting young people, including those that has been previously incarcerated. We're helping them with their job skills, self-esteem. We're helping them to find a job and retain that job. We are also assisting them in moving where they are to where they should be in terms of family support in general. I ask you to help other Pittsburghers. Those who have been incarcerated need you. And with that, I want to invite up Tim Stevens. Tim Stevens runs the CEIR program, the Corporate Equity and Inclusion Roundtable, BPEP, and a list of other organizations that honestly helps make Pittsburgh a better place to live. I want to introduce Tim Stevens and thank him for all of his leadership.
Good afternoon, everybody. Before I forget, I wanted to thank the Secret Soldiers, Carter Williams and Amy Downs, who make these two gentlemen look good, and thank them for their work on helping to organize. I want to thank our mayor and our county exec, because they didn't have to be here today. The county exec, or the mayor, sent me something on my dad's birthday, August 18th. About this new initiative that came out of the White House, the update of August 16th. And we talked about it, and I said, this is something that people need to hear about. When we started Corporate Equity, we had our 4th annual conference on June 22nd at Duquesne University. My first words 4 years ago in my opening remarks, the roots of violence Laura Ellsworth, are rooted in the absence of access to jobs and positive entrepreneurial opportunities. And what our leadership is talking about today, and all that came before me, is that let's give people a chance. We cannot just shake our heads when we see the violence and say, oh my. We need to do something positive, concrete, and in a sustained manner. Esther L. Bush talked about support that happens maybe for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. We cannot walk away from this in 2 or 3 years. It has to be part of the culture of corporate Pittsburgh, nonprofit Pittsburgh, and government Pittsburgh. And you cannot stop. People coming out of jails and penitentiaries at this point have no hope. Many expect to go back to jail. And hopefully with all that has been said before, and hopefully those in this room and those who are not will make a special effort to make it work. From well-meaning to well-doing. From the beginning of our corporate equity, that's what we said. This is a way to get it done. We all know African Americans lag behind, Hispanics lag behind. This is an opportunity to catch up. I hear we have a pledge.
We're going to sign it now, I think.
You want to introduce? All right. You want to introduce the pledge?
Yeah.
Let's give our leadership a hand for coming through for us. I appreciate it.
No, we thank everybody, and again, following the President's leadership and asking all of us around the country to do this, the Mayor and I were very glad to do this. So we'll be signing this pledge. Oh, you want to sign? Okay. You're right. There are people that make us look better than we deserve to look.
I would just say one other thing, Rich, too.
Yeah.
First off, to Tim, thank you for your steadfast leadership. You have been the sustainable force behind this for many years. And secondly, to the rest of Pittsburgh, to our corporate partners, to our nonprofit and our institutions, and to government across the level. We signed this pledge today. We ask that you sign it tomorrow.
You get to sign it tomorrow, right?
All right.
Tim, move in there.
Huh? Excellent, excellent. Thank you. Thank you. All right.
Congratulations and thanks, everybody.